So, welcome everybody to another retrograde planet. Today's actually we're going to do a very important planet when it comes to retrogression, and that is Mars. And if you know, Mars just stopped retrograding literally like yesterday or on Friday at 11 p.m. It stopped retrograding. Now, before I get into this retrogression and all these things, let me tell you, the planets are always retrograding. Something is retrograding sometime. Either it's Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. One of them is retrograding. So you can't rely, you can't depend your entire life on this thing, because things go haywire when they're not retrograding. So what I'm going to discuss today is I'm going to discuss when they're retrograding in your actual birth chart. That's when you actually feel the effect of it in your life, not when they go go retrograde, because you're gonna go crazy trying to find out what's going on every single time. So when Mars is retrograde in your birth chart, what happens? Well, let's find out. What is Mars? Mars is your willpower. Mars is your fighting ability. Mars is your agility. Mars is your ability to take action in life. That's what Mars is, okay? And Mars also represents your brothers, your friends, your male friends in life. Mars doesn't represent husband, so don't mistake that. That's Jupiter. Mars represents your boyfriend and your male friends, and once you marry that boyfriend, it turns into a Jupiter, okay? So when Mars is retrograde in your horoscope, what happens is that, let's say you want to make a movie. You're a filmmaker. So your moon is well placed, so you suddenly get an idea for the next, the next Insomnia, Christopher Nolan's movie. You get this crazy idea, and you're like, okay, that's good. And then your Mercury is well placed. Your Mercury says, okay, let's plan this out. Let's see, what do I have to do? So then you start writing, okay? Now, when it's time for your Mars to take action to make movies, that's when you kind of, contemplate within yourself. That's when you become very confused about, how should I take this action? When should I take this action? Should I take this action now or no? And you do this a lot. So what happened with this retrograde Mars is that your willpower suffers. Your willpower to withstand your ground in tough times. Your ability to take action, to make that movie, to pick up that camera, to get the actors, to get the location and start doing it. That's what happens, because and don't mistake this for somebody who doesn't do these things. They do, but they do it after a lot of thought process. They're like just sitting back and thinking, okay, should I do this or not? How should I do this? I got everything. And in this way, the Mars kind of becomes lazy because you become lazy. So your ability to take action just kind of suffers when it's retrograding, okay? So this is what you got to know about Mars. Now, there's another thing I'll discuss in this video besides this retrogression, is that if Mars is delineated in your horoscope, which is it's in Cancer, okay? That's actually a good thing. Let me tell you why. Because back when astrology was written 4,000 years ago, and at that time, screwing somebody, being clever, being manipulative, was against everything, and you would lose big time. But in this thing called Kali Yuga, you have to be that way. You have to be a little bit clever. You have to be a little bit manipulative. And that's what Mars does in Cancer. Okay? So if your Mars is in Cancer and it's retrograding, that is when your Mars suffers the least, in a way. Because you're clever enough to get your things done quick. Because Mars in Cancer is that impulsive Mars. It's like, okay, I want to make a movie. All right, let's do it. You'll write a script in a week. You will buy the camera, buy everything in 2 weeks, and then that's it. I'm going to start filming. I don't want to wait for this. Because you know what Mars does in Cancer? Mars people in Cancer obviously become very clever, become very manipulative. But then they also feel like that if I don't do this now, somebody else is going to do it. Where Mars in Capricorn, where it's excelled, okay? They're like, okay, let me think about these things. Let me, I want to take action. I will take action, but I want to take action that is sure that, okay, I will get this a hit movie. I'll make this a hit movie. But remember this, houses hold more value than the sign. So when a planet is in a certain house, that house activates the sign. It's not the sign that activates the house. So no matter what sign your Mars is in, if your Mars is in the 10th house, if your Mars is in the 10th house and 3rd house, you have all the courage in the world. And even if it's retrograded in the 3rd or 10th house, you're still able to withstand that. You're still able to beat that. So this is just a little extra lesson for Mars retrograde. So if you have retrograde Mars, you will obviously accomplish it, but you will do it after a lot of thought process, after a lot of contemplation. Because you got the script right, you got the idea there, but just to get up and do it, that's when it kind of suffers, okay? So guys, this was my analysis on Mars retrograde. And this is very important retrograde. You know, this is because when you're born, when your soul is born on this planet, the next step it takes what Mars gives it. The Mars energy is the first thing you experience in this world, which is action, which is movement. Okay, where the baby learns to walk and crawl and run and become the next president. So the first thing, and this is why Mars represents land. It represents, you know, your home. So when you're born on land. You're born on Mars. So Mars is a very vital energy in your life. You know what? People are scared of Rahu and Saturn, you know, in their life the whole time. Do you know Rahu and Saturn and Ketu are the least hardship giving planets? But if your Venus, Mercury, and Mars are screwed up in your horoscope, that's when you're going to feel the real devastation in your life, because these 3 planets represent the everyday life we live. Saturn and Rahu and Jupiter represents our long-term life lesson, our long-term life goals. But what you live every day is you live through communication, you live through relationships, and you live through action, which is represented by Mercury, Venus, and Mars. So guys, if you're new to my channel, subscribe above, because I'll be bringing you more of this beautiful knowledge. It's a beautiful Sunday. I just came back from the beach with my dog. Anyway, and if you want to know more about astrology, check out the link below. All right, see ya.